I was reading through a bit of the other intel about you that's out online, and you're talking about how actually going for walks and thinking about music outside of the studio kind of became an important part of your process.
Oh yeah.
What was like the pressure point that led to that, and then what did you discover on the other side?
Yeah, I think I'm the kind of guy that just drives hard at something until I get it. And that's not, I'm sure as you know, always the best way to reach your creative goal. You know, it's not like everything else in life where sometimes you can grip it so hard that nothing can pass through. So then I started the way I used to write songs is, this is my apartment, which I shared with two people in San Francisco. So not a lot of privacy. And I would just put my headphones on, make a loop that I thought was cool, and then loop that, just the same 4 bars for hours and hours, and just try to get in the zone and sing in my room and just get lost in it and access the subconscious. And that's great for generating melodies or maybe hook lyrics or some cool lyrics. But then I would find that I'm just okay, well, what is this song about? Because yes, subconscious, great, right? But unless you're Bob Dylan or Jack Kerouac, you're not going to be able to do a finished product purely on the subconscious. So then I would just go for walks around my neighborhood. I don't really know why I started it, but I was also new to San Francisco, so I was excited to be exploring. But yeah, I just found that through that repetitive motion, I got kind of zen, and my mind quieted down, and I wasn't really worrying, and then I would just run the lyrics over, and I couldn't write them. That was also the other crutch was I've always been a big fast writer where I'm just blah 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 blah, okay, and it's but is any of that worthwhile? Is it good, anything that you just wrote? So then I wouldn't stop and write down the lyric until I was that is the lyric. So it's I'd go line by line. I'd be no, and then I'd walk and be no, and then when I got it, I knew, and it's a great feeling. It's this funny experience I'm having inside my brain.
So were you able to are you saying were you literally writing the whole song with lyrics, or were you just trying to find the kind of core meaning, the thing that would unlock it?
Well, so to unlock it, I would do a lot of typing.
Okay.
I would, there's my journal and my computer is just filled with the first line is, what is this song about? And then I'd be okay, well, it's about the. And through that, I would find what I wanted to write about. But then specific lines to nail those lines. If I held myself to that standard of, I'm not gonna release anything that I know in my heart is below what I want it to be, and I don't always hold myself to that standard. It's tiring. But yeah, that's where the walks would come in handy. Is when it was basically the song would be done except for 2 lines, which I was just they're not perfect. They're not perfect, and then the walk would sort of everything would loosen up and the glacier would calve and there it would be.
Would you do just almost the massive brain dump, you just write, and you kind of explore what the song is about? Would that be in a lyrical form, or just here's what I'm thinking about, here's what I'm feeling?
Yeah, that would be straight just for me.
Okay.
And a lot of times I would have to do it halfway through.
Okay.
Because I'd be writing and I'm ooh, nice line, okay. That leads to this, and that leads to this. All right, cool. But then you look at it, and you're sort of am I writing this on purpose, or am I just sort of am I being lazy, and just saying these are pretty lines, but they don't mean anything? I never want to do that. And then I always want there to be a reason for the song. It's I don't want to make a song just because, I want to. I want to make a song that says something important, whether it's about, my personal life or something I think about existence. I just want there to be a reason for somebody to listen to it, other than the fact that there's like la 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 over dee dee dee, you know?
Totally. And so do you feel like your lyrics need to like explicitly state something, or do you have like some songs where it's like a poetic explanation that doesn't have to be literal?
Yes. That's almost my preference, is the latter, to have the poetic one that doesn't need to be literal. You know, because I was extremely influenced by Radiohead in the beginning. I mean, who isn't? But like, and specifically Where I End and You Begin, that song, where, you know, he's just like, I'm opening the clouds, you know, and I can't come down. And you're just like, I don't know what he's talking about, but it's gorgeous, you know? So I love the idea of painting with words too. And I've been doing that less and less, I think, because then I became influenced by Dark Side of the Moon, where, you know, I know, right? Came real late to Pink Floyd, really late. Like this guy who was producing my record Ghost Modern, Eli Cruz, amazing musician. He used to be in Beulah, and he just produced the Tune Yards record. He's like, and he's such a cool person. And he was like, dude, you must love Pink Floyd, right? Because if you listen to my music, clearly I love Pink Floyd, but I didn't. I had like never ever listened to them, and I don't know why I was turned off by them. I think maybe it was David Gilmour's voice or something at first, where I was just like, I don't understand this. And now, you know, obviously they're one of the greatest that ever lived. But the thing that I latched onto about them and watching all these documentaries was that, you know, there was this one segment where Roger Waters was saying, I was kind of tired of doing all these artsy songs that didn't make any sense, and where you couldn't, and I wanted to write something that was just pure and you could latch onto instantly. And listening to the lyrics on Dark Side of the Moon, they're remarkable because they're all so grounded and simple, but beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's quite something to aspire to. But I do sometimes, I feel a little insecure about this, because I wonder, you know, when do my aspirations take me on a path that I don't belong on? You know, it's like, you could aspire to do lots of things, like be Bruce Springsteen, for instance, you know, asking for a friend. But maybe that's not you. So it's really hard for me to, you know, get all these disparate influences and then focus them. And it's like, all right, but what do I want to do? So I don't know. You know, we'll see. I haven't taken stock of the new album's lyrics, but who knows? Maybe I've hit a good vein between the two.
So do you find, actually, even when you're reflecting on your own music, there's a whole, like, you know, deep in the trenches, like, process of creating it, and then do you find that looking back, do you need to do the thing where you don't listen to them for like a year or two or something like that, then you come back and kind of rediscover what was going on?
Well, it's like I don't have that luxury, because I have to make the live sessions, you know, in Ableton, and then you have to go play them on tour.
So you can guess which of us like finishes a record and never sees it again. That would be at this end, yeah.
Yeah, that must be fun. But I definitely go through a roller coaster of affection with them, right? Where I'm just like, that's an amazing song. I can't believe I wrote that. And then that same tune, I'll just be like, you're an idiot and a loser, and you really got to get your stuff together. Yeah, you know, and I'm just, it's, but this record's been really interesting because it's been done for 2.5 years, maybe. Whoa. which is really rare. I mean, because we lost that year. Mm-hmm. It was gonna come out March of 2020. Wow. And it had already been done for, a lot of the songs had been written at least for a year. But this one, for some reason, you know, I feel very present with it still, which is just a joy, because now it's like album rollout season, where usually I have to pretend that these are my greatest friends, you know, where I'm just like, oh man, I this song is like where I'm at creatively, but And I have another album's worth of music on my hard drive, and I'm really excited about it, but for some reason it hasn't kicked these children out of my life yet, you know?
That's wild. I love it. That's really interesting.
Yeah.